The 2010s decade had some of the best pitchers that we've seen in baseball in a long time. Clayton Kershaw, Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, Felix Hernandez, just to name a few, were the dominant pitchers for the majority of the decade. But in the last 2 years, 2018 and 2019, we've seen two new guys rise to the top and become some of the most dominant pitchers in the game. Jacob deGrom of the New York Mets, the two-time back-to-back National League Cy Young Award winner, and Gerrit Cole, who had two dominant seasons with the Houston Astros and signed a massive contract with the New York Yankees. Two pitchers, both absolutely incredible. Both pitchers now pitching in New York, which magnifies this argument even more, which leads me to the goal of today's video, which is to find out who is the best pitcher going into the 2020 season. I'm going to be looking at the last 2 years, 2018 and 2019. The reason I'm limiting the stats to the 2018 and 19 season is because prior to 2018, Gerrit Cole was a vastly different pitcher than we've seen the last two seasons, so it wouldn't be fair to his numbers because Gerrit Cole has grown massively the last 2 years. I'm going to be looking at traditional stats. We're talking strikeouts, earned runs, ERA, and I'm also going to be taking a deep dive into some sabermetrics and analytics, hard hit rate, barrel rate, FIP. There's a lot of stats, a lot of numbers to be looking at in today's video, but my goal, my hope is to be able to show you and prove exactly who is the best pitcher in Major League Baseball going into the 2020 season. So let's start off by comparing the traditional stats of these two pitchers, Jacob deGrom versus Gerrit Cole. Starting it off with the Mets pitcher Jacob deGrom. Back-to-back Cy Youngs, 2018 and 2019 in the National League. He has been the most dominant pitcher in the National League the last 2 years. But is he the most dominant pitcher in baseball? Well, in 2018, we know he had a historic year. A 1.7 ERA and 217 innings pitched, only allowed 10 home runs on the year, striking out a league best 269. Nice. A whip under 1 at .912, which, as we know, a whip under 1 for a starter, that's amazing. 6.3 hits per 9, 0.4 home runs per 9, 1.9 walks per 9, and 11.2 strikeouts per 9 gave him a strikeout to walk ratio of 5.85. He built on that strong 2018 season with a great 2019. Again, he won the Cy Young back-to-back, 2.43 ERA and 204 innings pitched, gave up 19 homers, a few more than the year prior, and struck out 255 batters while only walking 44, giving him a strikeout to walk ratio of 5.8, a whip at .971, hits per 9 at 6.8, home runs per 9 at .8, walks per 9 at 1.9 again, and strikeouts per 9 actually went up from the previous year at 11.3. So when we take a look at the 2-year average for the traditional stats for Jacob deGrom, here's what it comes out to. 2.05 ERA, 421 innings pitched, 306 hits, 96 earned runs, 29 homers, 90 walks, 524 strikeouts, a whip of .941, 6.5 hits per 9, 0.6 home runs per 9, 1.9 walks, and 11.2 strikeouts. Those are elite numbers. We move on to his counterpart, Gerrit Cole, who spent the last 2 years with the Houston Astros, finished second in the Cy Young voting in 2019, and had a top 5 finish in 2018. 18 was his first season with the Astros, and they really revamped his game. A 2.88 ERA in 200 innings pitched, gave up 19 homers, striking out 276 and walking 64, to give him a whip just over 1 at 1.033. His hits per 9 was 6.4, homers 0.9, walks per 9 2.9, and strikeouts per 9 12.4. Gave him a strikeout to walk ratio of 4.31. Still elite numbers. But he really took a massive step forward in 2019, where he was arguably the best pitcher in baseball. 2.50 ERA and 212 innings pitched, gave up 10 more homers than the previous season, but struck out 326 batters, that's 50 more batters than the year before, and walked almost 20 less at 48. His whip for the year was at .895, hits per 9 was down to 6.0, walks per 9 were down to 2.0, and strikeouts per 9 were up to 13.8 to give him an astounding 6.79 strikeout to walk ratio. The 2-year average comes out to a 2.68 ERA, 412 innings pitched, 285 hits, 123 earned runs, 48 homers, 112 walks, 602 strikeouts, .962 whip, 6.2 hits per 9, 1 home run per 9, 2.4 walks, and 13.1 strikeouts to give him a 2-year average of a 5.38 strikeout to walk ratio. How do these two pitchers compare to each other traditionally? Gerrit Cole definitely has his positives. He is a better strikeout pitcher. He has struck out more batters in the last 2 seasons than Jacob deGrom. But deGrom is better at limiting walks, better at limiting home runs, doesn't give up as many runs, has a lower whip, pitched more innings, and has a better strikeout to walk ratio. So right now on the traditional stats, you have to give the nod to Jacob deGrom over the last 2 years. Now I am aware that the two pitchers pitch in different leagues against different competition. The National League has to deal with the pitcher, the American League has a DH. Those numbers do play a factor into some of the stats for a National League pitcher opposed to American League, but right now, based on the difference between the two, you have to give the nod to Jacob deGrom. Part of this reason is also why we're going to take a deeper dive into the numbers and take a look at some sabermetrics and analytics. Some coming from Fangraphs, some coming from Baseball Savant. So according to WAR, by Fangraphs, by Baseball Reference, Jacob deGrom is the better pitcher than Gerrit Cole over the last 2 seasons. His B WAR for the last 2 years is 18.6 and F WAR is 16.0, while Gerrit Cole has a 12 12.1 B WAR, and a 13.4 F WAR. So Jacob deGrom takes the nod there. When we take a look at fielder independent pitching, or FIP, which converts a pitcher's 3 true outcomes into an earned run average like number, Jacob deGrom is still absolutely disgusting, coming in with a 1.99 FIP in 2018 and a 2.67 FIP in 2019. You look at his K rate, it's 32.2% and 31.7% to give him a 32% average, 5.5 walk percent. Opponents are hitting only 199 against him with a batting average on balls in play, BABIP, of 282. We take a look at the ERA minus numbers for Jacob deGrom, which is ERA adjusted for park and league, where 100 is average, and the lower you get, the better your ERA minus is. In 2018, deGrom had a 45, and in 2019 had a 59 to give an average of 52. Ground ball to fly ball ratio of 1.37, so he's getting more ground balls than fly balls, which is very important in baseball nowadays because, of course, as we know, everybody is obsessed with hitting homers. Everyone's trying to hit the ball in the air more often, yet Jacob deGrom is getting people to hit the ball on the ground more often than he is in the air. His ground ball percentage for the last 2 years comes in at 45.4%, fly ball 33.1%, infield fly ball, which is really interesting because you got to think you're not really hitting the ball that strong if you're hitting it into the infield on the fly, 15.2%, soft contact rate at 23.6%, medium contact, which is kind of that in between again of soft and hard, 48.3%, and hard contact rate only at 28.1%. So he's getting a lot of soft contact while limiting the hard contact. That's very important, and again builds into why he gets so many more ground balls over fly balls. It's starting to make sense. And then we have this stat Sierra. Sierra stands for Skill Interactive Earned Run Average, and Sierra quantifies a pitcher's performance by trying to eliminate factors that the pitcher can't control by himself. In that category, deGrom has an average of a 3.03 Sierra the last 2 seasons. Now taking a look at Gerrit Cole's numbers here, for his fielder independent pitching, he has a 2.67, which is still absolutely fantastic, but is not as low as Jacob deGrom's 2.32. He does have a higher K percentage at 37.3%, but he also does have a higher walk percentage at 6.9%. Opponents aren't hitting the ball as often for hits against him, a 0.191 average, and a BABIP very similar to Jacob deGrom's at 281. But you take a look at the ERA minus, and his ERA minus the last 2 seasons just isn't as good as Jacob deGrom. He had a 70 in 2018, which definitely hurts his average because in 2019 he had a 56, which was 3 points better than deGrom, but for the average the last 2 years he's at 63, which puts him 11 higher. Ground ball to fly ball ratio. This hurts Gerrit Cole a little bit. He does give up the long ball more often than Jacob deGrom. In the last 2 seasons, he has a ground ball to fly ball ratio of 0.93, which means he's giving up more fly balls than ground balls. Line drive rate is very low, 20.9%. Ground ball rate, low, 38.1%. The huge difference here is going to be the fly balls, where he's at 41% compared to Jacob deGrom's 33.1%. And he's not getting as many infield fly balls either, only 11.6%. Now here's where these Fangraphs numbers really stand out to me. It comes down to the soft, medium, and hard contact percentages. Gerrit Cole comes in at 18.9% on soft contact, where Jacob deGrom was 23.6%. So deGrom is producing soft contact more often than Gerrit Cole. Part of this can be due to the fact that Gerrit Cole does strike out more batters, but also in the same regards, when the ball is being put in play, Jacob deGrom's getting the ball hit softer than Gerrit Cole. Medium contact, they're relatively the same. And then on hard hit percentage contacts, when players are hitting the ball against Gerrit Cole, they're hitting it harder more often than they are against Jacob deGrom. 32.4% for Gerrit Cole as opposed to 28.1% for Jacob deGrom. Cole does get the nod though in Sierra, where he has a 2.75 Sierra rating as opposed to a Sierra of 3.03 for Jacob deGrom. So they definitely have their strong suits in each category. These players are going neck and neck. Everything is so close. They're both fantastic. But what I'm seeing right now is that Gerrit Cole gets more strikeouts, but when the ball is put in play more, batters are hitting the ball harder. So it depends what you value. Do you value the strikeout and you say, I'll take the home runs when they come? Or do you value how Jacob deGrom pitches, where he doesn't strike out as many batters, still strikes out a lot, doesn't walk as many guys either though, and when the ball is put in play, it's typically not hit as well. Which leads me to the third and final stat crunch of the video, which is going to be coming from stats from Baseball Savant. Now, Baseball Savant offers a lot of access to different stats you don't get on Fangraphs and Baseball Reference. All of these sites are fantastic and will be linked in the description. The last 2 seasons for Gerrit Cole, he has a barrel percentage of 6.1%. And for those of you who are wondering what barrel percentage means, it's essentially how many balls that were put in play were barreled up. Gerrit Cole has 6.1%. The average exit velo of balls put in play against him is 87.9, launch angle of 14.35, which makes sense again. This backs up the stats that we saw with Fangraphs, because on Fangraphs it told us that he gave up more fly balls than ground balls, so it makes sense that you would see a higher launch angle than you would for Jacob deGrom. Expected batting average of 0.192, that's insane, that's crazy low, but then his expected slugging is at 0.328, weighted on base average 2.56, hard hit percentage 37.7, expected ERA at 2.75, weak contact at 3.8. Now these next few stats are a little bit complicated, so I'm going to explain them as well as I can, tell you why I consider them valuable. Zone percentage is the percentage of pitches seen inside the strike zone. For Gerrit Cole, 52.8% of the time he throws a pitch, it's going to be inside the strike zone. Z swing percentage is percentage of pitches a batter swings at inside the zone. Gerrit Cole has a 66.4 zone swing percentage over the last 2 years. Zone contact, I think you can figure that one out, 73.5%. A chase percentage of 30.8, which would be percent of balls that batters swing that are outside of the zone. Chase contact, so when they make contact on balls that they chased outside of the zone, 47.8. And then we have swing and whiff percentages. The last two stats I'm going to look at here, pretty straightforward, 49.6%. And then whiff percent, of course, is going to be how many times the guys whiff, 34.2. So essentially what we're looking at with these stats is how much he's getting in the zone, whether or not he's getting batters to chase, whether or not he's striking out batters looking, the quality of at-bats that batters are having, quantified to a number. Gerrit Cole has been absolutely fantastic, but when you hear the numbers and compare them to Gerrit Cole's from Jacob deGrom, deGrom continues to outperform Gerrit Cole. Barrel rate for Jacob deGrom, 4.6% compared to the 6.1 from Gerrit Cole. Average exit velo of 85.7. Launch angle of 11.15. Again, that makes sense because he does get more ground balls than fly balls. And in an era when everyone's trying to hit more fly balls, this is very important and definitely has a big part in Jacob deGrom's success. Expected batting average, a little bit higher, but his expected slugging is lower. And again, that plays into the fact that he gets more ground balls. When you're putting the ball on the ground more, it's harder to score runs, it's harder to get extra base hits. Jacob deGrom does a fantastic job at limiting that. And it's not that Gerrit Cole does a bad job. deGrom is just better. Weighted on base average, 240 for deGrom, 16 points lower than Gerrit Cole's. Hard hit percentage. This is one of the biggest differences between the two. Jacob deGrom's hard hit percentage is 29.8% compared to Gerrit Cole's 37.7. Almost a 10% difference there. Expected ERA, 15 points lower from deGrom at 2.6. Ground ball rate, fly ball rate, we went over that. Jacob deGrom is getting ground balls more often than Gerrit Cole, and he's also getting less line drives hit. The weak contact percentage, Jacob deGrom is getting more balls hit weakly than Gerrit Cole, almost a full percentage more. And then when you look at the solid contact percentage between the two, Jacob deGrom is at 4.6, which is almost half as much as Gerrit Cole's at 9.1. People just aren't hitting the ball as hard against Jacob deGrom. Throws the ball less in the zone, they swing more when it is in the zone, and they do make more contact, but it's weaker. And that makes sense, of course, because Gerrit Cole is getting more strikeouts. Jacob deGrom does get batters to chase more, and he does have a higher chase contact percentage than Gerrit Cole. But again, this all feeds into the fact that Jacob deGrom gets more balls hit weakly, where Gerrit Cole gets more strikeouts. And then when you look at the swing percentage, Jacob deGrom has a higher swing percentage than Gerrit Cole, and then his whiff percentage is about 3% lower than Gerrit Cole's. Now, the final bit of information that I'm going to leave here, I'm going to talk about shifting. We all know about shifting. Whether you love it or hate it, there is no doubt that shifting against players is more effective than not shifting. But when you put players in the field in positions that are more likely to get outs than in positions where the batter's never really going to hit the ball, you give yourself a better chance to get more outs. When you compare the numbers of Jacob deGrom and Gerrit Cole with the shifts behind them, it's shocking the difference. In the last 2 seasons for Jacob deGrom against right-handed hitters, the defense behind him has only shifted 10 times. That's hovering right around 1% of the total at-bats against right-handed hitters. Against lefties, it's a little more often. They've shifted a total of 188 times in about 800 at-bats. But still, when you compare this to Gerrit Cole and the shift rate behind him, it is not even close. In 2018 and 19 versus right-handed hitters, the number of shifts behind Gerrit Cole on the mound was more similar to Jacob deGrom's left-handed hitter stats. They were shifting close to 30% of the time with righties with Cole on the mound. Against left-handed hitters, the Astros were shifting almost 70% of the time behind Gerrit Cole. These numbers are huge. It's hard to actually prove what deGrom's numbers would look like if he were having shifts behind him more often, but it's something to think about when you're taking a look at these numbers, because the New York Mets are just not putting guys necessarily in the right spots as often as they should be, or even as often as the Astros were, which could make an effect to Jacob deGrom's numbers. And you could make the same argument that if the Astros didn't shift as much, the numbers could be worse for Gerrit Cole. All hypotheticals, but worth bringing up. So after hearing all the numbers between Jacob deGrom and Gerrit Cole, here's what I've come down to. Both of these pitchers are incredible. They are definitely some of the top pitchers going into the 2020 season. The argument of 1 and 2, I'm all for it. They're unbelievably talented. With Jacob deGrom, you're not getting as many strikeouts, still getting a ton. This is a guy who is towards the top of the National League every year, but you're also getting fewer homers, fewer walks, and when balls are being put in play, they're not being hit as hard. Gerrit Cole, you're getting equally as dominant as a pitcher. Strikes out a ton of batters, video game-like numbers. Walks a few extra guys, and does give up a few more homers. But in the hits department, it's pretty similar to deGrom, if not sometimes better. Both these pitchers do something at an extremely elite level. Both these pitchers are insane. But after looking at the numbers and comparing the stats, it is obvious to me that Jacob deGrom is the best pitcher in Major League Baseball going into the 2020 season. Gerrit Cole is very, very close, and there's a very good chance that he will surpass him in 2020. But leading into the season, before we see any games played this year, you've got to be putting Jacob deGrom at the #1 pitcher spot. He's earned it. That's how good he's been. It's not that Gerrit Cole's bad, it's just that Jacob deGrom has been on another level. So yeah, that's gonna wrap up my video. I'm sure some of you are gonna comment biased, just see a Mets logo in the background of my videos. I'm well aware I'm a Mets fan. Everybody knows it. But when you take a look at the numbers, the statistics, nothing to do with bias here. Jacob deGrom does a lot of things better than Gerrit Cole, which doesn't mean Cole does them poorly. He does them extremely well too. It's just deGrom is on another level right now. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Something different on the channel, something a lot more like stat intensive, a lot more breakdowns, but I really enjoyed making it. If you guys did enjoy watching it, make sure to leave a like on the video. That's the best way to show your support. Subscribe to the channel, get in the comments down below. Let me know what video I should do next. And if you want to continue the conversation, like I said, Twitter and Instagram are the best place to find me. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Trying something new, trying something different. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video as well as this is my most recent upload. So click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you all tomorrow for another video. Bye.